So you're thinking about moving to Minneapolis and you need to rent an apartment. Well, here are 3 things you need to keep in mind. So the first thing that you need to look out for is whether or not the apartment has central air. Some of the older apartments don't have central air because back then Minnesota wasn't a hot place. But recently we have seen more extreme climate events, and you can expect for your summers to be way hotter than they were a couple of years ago. And a wall unit may not be enough to keep you cool. Trust me, I have one in my apartment. It's not a great feeling. So you want to ask when you're looking whether or not they have central air. For the newer apartments, they most often will because that's how they're built now. But for the older apartments that you may look at to save a little bit of money on rent, you need to ask if they have central air or not. The second thing that you want to ask about is parking. Now, if you're living in downtown Minneapolis, parking is an issue just because of space constraints. You want to make sure you have a place to put your car where you're not going to get a ticket and you're not going to get towed. But the additional factor here, as I mentioned before in the first tip, is the weather. Now, you may think, hey, it's no big deal to have to brush off my car in the morning and shovel it out of the snow, but that's going to get old real fast. The winters are long, they can be brutal, and so most people want to make sure they have some sort of parking. So there are generally 3 levels of parking. You have your surface lot parking, which is generally an apartment complex just having a parking lot. First come, first serve. You park wherever you can. Then after that, most of them will have off-street parking. So if it's not quite downtown, but maybe like right around that downtown area, they may have their own parking lot. And then if you can't get a spot there, you'll be parking off-street, but it's free parking. It's not metered parking or anything like that. So those are typically the free options. Then the next level is going to be covered parking. So this is not going to have walls. It's just going to be a parking deck. So you're still going to have to go out in the cold, but you don't have to worry about scraping off your car or anything like that. You can get in your car and just drive away. They may have assigned spaces for you, maybe a certain number of spaces per your unit that you can have, or it may be first come, first serve. That tends to be the mid tier, and I have found that that is between $50 to $100 a month if it's in conjunction with your apartment. Then the next level of parking is going to be garage parking. So this is going to be covered on top, walls on the side. It might be climate controlled, it might not be. Typically for garage parking, you have 1 space per unit and you have to pay extra per month for that space. So you might have to pay anywhere between $150 to $200 extra for that space that's assigned to your unit. And if you have extra cars, they may have extra space in the garage. You would have to pay extra per month for that extra car as well. Sometimes they'll give you a little bit of discount on the extra car, like $50 off, but you still have to pay per month for that extra car. Or sometimes in the garage, they just simply don't have space. They only have enough for each unit to have 1 car, and you would have to park your second car outside in the lot or on the street, as I said, in those free parking tiers. So parking is very important. You want to make sure that you have that figured out. Or if you're not going to be driving a car, you want to ask about public transit. I've already done a video about public transit options in Minneapolis, so make sure you check that out. All right, number 3 is in-unit washer dryer. Now, maybe I never noticed this when I was living down south. Maybe it's just not common there. But here I've noticed that one way that people save money on their monthly rent is by renting apartments that don't have in-unit washer dryers. So they may use a common laundry that's on their floor, or they may go to the laundromat. Now, it is up to you, but I have found that having an in-unit washer dryer is a time saver. It is inconvenient to try to take all of your stuff to another location to wash them. We go to the laundromat a little bit because we have kind of bigger blankets and stuff that we take to the laundromat to wash that don't fit in our washer and dryer. But to be honest, it is an inconvenience. You have to, especially when it's cold, and it's cold most of the time here. So you're gonna have to take all of your stuff to the laundromat. You're gonna have quarters, or you're gonna have to pay for all that stuff, bring all of your soaps and dryer sheets and everything, wait there with your stuff. And it's pretty busy because there are a lot of units around that do not have washer and dryer. Sometimes it's all that people can afford. So you'll see a lot of people at the laundromat doing their laundry, and you'll have to wait your turn. I mean, it is inconvenient. So you've got to really think about, how much am I really saving by not having a washer and dryer? If I have to go to the laundromat and I have to do laundry elsewhere, how much time am I spending doing it elsewhere? All of those things. So personally, I would recommend that you get a unit with a washer and dryer, even if the unit is cheaper without one. I have not seen an apartment, 1 bedroom, 1 bath with in-unit washer and dryer that is going to be less than $1,800, all included with your utilities and the parking. I have not seen it. I'm sure it's out there. I just haven't seen it here in the Minneapolis area. Now, most apartments are going to require you to make 3 times the rent price. So that's not including your utilities and the parking, but they're going to require you to have 3 times the rent price as your income. So if your base rent price is $1,500, they're going to expect you to make at least $4,500 a month in that apartment. Now, of course, that doesn't have to just be you. If you have a partner, if you have a roommate, that can all be included. But I have seen that very commonly. That has to be 3 times that rent price that you have to make. To apply, you have to have application fees for each person whose income is going to be included. So that's typically $50 to $100 per person. You have to put down a security deposit, which can be anywhere between $200 and $500. They're going to check your credit. They're going to check to see if you have more than $1,000 in debts. And I don't know what criteria they use. Different apartments use different criteria for what they consider to be a high amount of debt, but they are going to look into that. They're going to look into criminal history. They're going to look into rental history, whether you had any problems at your previous apartment complex, whether you've been evicted. So just keep all of that in mind. I've gotten a lot of questions on my previous videos about, should I move to Minneapolis and look for a job when I get there? What is the job situation here? Well, I will tell you that I am seeing a lot of help wanted signs. I am seeing, hourly rates at $15, $18 an hour. It does look like there's a lot of jobs here, but you have to keep in mind where you're going to live in the meantime. If you have a friend who lives here that you can stay with, great. If you're going to stay in a hotel or extended stay hotel while you look for something, great. But as I just said, getting into an apartment here is a little bit complicated, and you are going to have to show some proof of income or show that you have some savings. My advice would be to try to scope out the jobs a little bit first, maybe come visit and, have a plan to stay here for a shorter amount of time to look for jobs and get a job first rather than relocating first, getting out of your old apartment, selling stuff, doing all that and coming here and trying to find something. So that would be my advice. If you have any other questions about renting an apartment in Minneapolis, or you have suggestions for other videos that I can do, please comment below and let me know. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.